That was months in the making gets done. The Jaguars trading Jalen Ramsey to the Rams. How did we get to this point? Ramsey, in the fourth season of a 5-year rookie deal, arrived at training camp in July in an armored bank truck. A not-so-subtle move in search of a raise. Then he asked to be traded after Tom Coughlin, the Jaguars' VP of football operations, scolded him for his actions during a 13-12 Week 2 loss at Houston. The following week, Ramsey left the team due to the impending birth of his second child. Did not play the past 3 games after that because of a back injury, and all that led us to yesterday when the Jaguars dealt their problem, headache, whatever you want to call it, to the Rams for first-round picks in each of the next 2 drafts, in addition to a 2021 4th-round pick. I've been talking about this, it feels like forever, with Marcus Spears. The big Swagoo joins us live from Bristol this morning. Swagoo, I have so many ways to go with this. What do you think of the addition, first off, of Jalen in Los Angeles? Does he make the Rams a Super Bowl contender?
I'm not sure about a Super Bowl contender, Greeny, because they got to block some damn body. That's number one. But with Wade Phillips and what he likes to do defensively, schematically, he's a perfect fit. I played for Wade in Dallas. When he has man corners, he dials up pressure as well as anyone in the NFL. When he was in his days in Denver, that defense pretty much carried that football team when Peyton Manning was there to a Super Bowl. So you think about what Jalen Ramsey can add. He makes, look, there are a few defenders in this league that makes people around them better. And the fact that they have Aaron Donald, Dante Fowler up front, Michael Brockers as well, giving them an extra half-second possibly to get to the quarterback makes a tremendous difference. And right now, with the way the offense is struggling, all you're trying to do is steal possession. So whether that's turnovers or whether that's getting off the field on 3rd down a little bit more than you usually do, Jalen Ramsey adds to that and gives you the ability possibly to get 1 or 2 more possessions in a game with a struggling offense.
And Swagoo, assuming that Jalen Ramsey's back is all of a sudden fine and he's able to play this weekend, we were talking here earlier this morning, the guys and Dan Graziano and I, about just the way this thing played out and sort of the new reality in the National Football League where star players can take greater control of their destiny than we've ever seen before. What do you make of that in the sport right now?
Well, geez, I think it's more of players being conscious about taking control of their careers and the tracks of their careers and being unhappy in a certain place. Look, you can talk about Jalen Ramsey and whether he was a cancer in the locker room or whether he was causing turmoil. He quickly identified that I don't want to be here. So you have to respect that. And you and I talked about this since this has been going on. You almost, when a player says that, especially of his stature, you're almost in a position where you have to get rid of him because it just creates so much talk outside of football for your franchise. Now, look, I know a lot of people are saying the old guard is like, hey, you got to keep him. He's under contract. You should play for the team you signed the deal with or that drafted you. It's a different day and age we're living. Look, we see so many things about the game of football evolving. And one of those things is players being smarter and taking more control of their careers. And owners probably don't like it. People of the old NFL narrative doesn't like it, but they need to come on the board. It's 2019. It's about to be 2020, and this is the way that things are going to go. Jalen Ramsey is just one case in many that's going to start to take place and transition to other teams when they're disgruntled about their situations.
The big Swagoo, Marcus Spears, with us from Bristol. We'll see you later, big fella. Maria, over to you.
All right, Greeny, I want to play a game of either or with 2 of my buddies, RC and Neek. And Ryan, let's start with you. Rams and Cowboys, both, they've lost 3 straight. Who do we think is going to turn it around faster?
I think the Cowboys, and it's not necessarily because I believe in the Cowboys or because I think that they're a great team, but they're not playing in a division with San Francisco and a division with the Seattle Seahawks, both of whom have already beaten the Los Angeles Rams. And if you look at what they look like this weekend, it was terrible. If you're the Cowboys, you have an opportunity this week against the Eagles to win a game and be atop the NFC East that is just downright bad. You get some healthy tackles back. You find some ways to continue to create offense the way you did in the first 3 games, and you have an opportunity to represent your division in the playoffs.
All right, Neek, let's talk about MVPs. We all talked about Pat Mahomes coming in, winning 2 straight, and then there was Russell Wilson. Ooh,
yeah.
He's looking pretty good. Either or, who you got?
Yeah, it's definitely Russell right now in the head of the MVP race. What he's doing with frankly, less talent, less coaching support. You could argue that their coaches are not doing the best by them because they think think they're a run-first team when they have this man at quarterback, but somehow he puts them in every game. His numbers are out of this world, and he is fantastic. Oh, did you see that? Oh, my God.
Did it scare you?
That shocks me every time. You know I'm a corner, so when I see them things drop in like that, indefensible, they get me a little upset. But that man is fantastic.
All right, he's on pace to have a career-high completion percentage this season. Okay, let's talk defenses. Who is better, San Francisco or the Patriots?
Listen, I'll take both of these defenses. You can win a lot of games that they've shown you, but I'm going with the New England Patriots. The Patriots are a team that are on a historic run to start the season. And I know many people are going to say, well, look who they played, look at their division. Hey, that's not their fault. All you can do is go out there and dominate. They gave up their first passing touchdown this past week. What they've been able to do from a pressure standpoint, a turnover standpoint, and stopping the run when you know that teams are trying to come at you because they have to outscore Tom Brady has been amazing thus far.
Nick, I like you were shaking your head just no if he was going to go with the 49. Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, who do you feel better about at quarterback for Carolina, Cam Newton or Kyle Allen?
I mean, Cam Newton. Kyle Allen has been average at best, and the defense has been outstanding on this recent stretch that they've won. He hasn't turned the ball over, but he's been fairly average. Cam Newton has the potential to be a guy that can put the whole team on your back. So if you have the opportunity to go from a game manager, which is what Kyle Allen is right now, maybe he'll graduate to something else later, go from that to someone who has the potential to be a Superman, then you do that.
Okay, well, let's welcome in Dan Graziano because I would love to hear more about the future that you see for Cam in Carolina and just kind of what you're hearing around the league.
Carolina Panthers believe that Cam Newton will perform in the offense that he's in when healthy. They thought that he did that last year before he got hurt. They feel like if they get him back healthy, he's their best option. Even if they don't feel like he's their best option, even if they decide to keep Kyle Allen in there because he hasn't lost a game, right? He's won 4 in a row, maybe it gets to 5 or 6, you don't mess with it. You're still keeping Cam Newton because this is your evidence, right? Your quarterback could get hurt at any time, and you feel like you have a guy who's a good option. Newton's got 1 year left on his contract after this year. It's non-guaranteed. They could move on from him after this year and eat only $2 million in dead money. This is going to get talked about because they're winning and Kyle Allen is playing well. I don't get the sense that it's being talked about in Carolina by the decision makers there. This is a franchise icon, an MVP player who took them to the Super Bowl. And I think the strong likelihood is that he finishes this season as the Carolina Panthers quarterback, starts next season as a Carolina Panthers quarterback, and probably gets a contract extension.
You know, Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, he's been 4-0 and leading the Saints as a winner and filling in for Drew Brees, but we don't have a conversation surrounding whether or not he should be the starting quarterback. Why do you think we tend to have a conversation surrounding Cam Newton?
Well, I think that people believe potentially that Cam Newton may not ever be healthy again. And I don't think we have the same reaction to Drew Brees. So I think Drew Brees, and also Drew Brees at his best is better than Cam Newton at his best. So I think that's part of the reason why we have this conversation. I think there are other reasons why we have this conversation, particularly down in Carolina. Whenever Cam Newton has a bad week, the talk radio down there is talking about who's the backup, and that happened for many years, even after he had an MVP season. So they have issues down there to figure out, but I don't think the issues are with Cam Newton.
I think the conversation is dumb, and I don't think that it's warranted at this point. You know going forward right now that Kyle Allen isn't the franchise quarterback of this team. You know that his ceiling isn't the same ceiling of Cam Newton. But there's been issues with Cam Newton since he came out. There were people and scouts saying they didn't like the way he smiled. And so I think he's always been looked at and critiqued a little differently than other quarterbacks because it's just unfamiliar. It doesn't look the same. It doesn't sound the same. It doesn't move the same as what people are used to. But you can't forget what Cam Newton is at his best. What Cam Newton is at his best is the best player in this franchise's history. And I think if you feel like he can be close to that, 89% of Cam, 90% of Cam doing what we've loved to watch him do throughout the years is their best chance to reach the pinnacle of football, and that's the Super Bowl.
He's a completely unique player in NFL history. I mean, you talk about Drew Brees doesn't get questioned. He's going to the Hall of Fame. It's not crazy to think that Cam Newton, with 2 or 3 more very good years, could be a Hall of Fame quarterback either. Again, a unique case. He's accomplished things that other players haven't accomplished athletically. So, the Carolina Panthers still view him that way.
And I think
he's healthy.
We kind of miss it. And Drew Brees is a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the top 5 to 10 quarterbacks that's ever played this game. And even he doesn't have something that Cam Newton does, and that's an MVP.
Yeah,
That's
and
true.
He's under contract till 2020. We'll continue the conversation, obviously, surrounding Kyle Allen and Cam Newton. But first, let's get to Greeny.
Yeah, because this conversation continues as well. LeBron James is trying to clarify his position on China after his critical remarks about Rockets general manager Daryl Morey's tweet supporting demonstrators in Hong Kong. James was slammed on social media after calling Morey's tweet, quote, misinformed. LeBron James' response Monday led to protests in Hong Kong on Tuesday, with some demonstrators trampling and even burning his jersey. Following practice yesterday, James told reporters he hadn't seen the protest and said he hopes tensions will subside over time.
I feel like I talked about it yesterday. I tweeted out a couple of responses to people not understanding, my knowledge of where it came from my brain and for me learning from the situation. I'm talking about it now, and I won't talk about it again because I'll be cheating my teammates by continuing to harp on something that won't benefit us. Trying to win a championship, because that's what we're here for. We're not politicians. I think it's a huge political thing, but we are leaders, and we can step up at times. But there's times where I'm not saying in this particular instance, but if you don't feel like you should speak upon things, you shouldn't have to. We don't know the landscape of the situation. If a week would have went by and then the tweet would have happened, it's easy to say, but we have no idea. So. It was a challenging trip for all of us that was in China, and if you were not there, then you just can't relate.
James did also reiterate yesterday he does plan going forward to continue addressing issues that he is passionate and knowledgeable about. Meanwhile, the games do continue, and tonight on ESPN we do have a preseason doubleheader. 8 Eastern, Trae Young and the Hawks, Jay Barrett and the Knicks, RJ Barrett, excuse me. And then at 10:30 Eastern, LeBron's Lakers hosting Steph and the Warriors. Coverage tips off with NBA Countdown at 7 Eastern on ESPN and on the ESPN app. Maria's crushing me. All right, as we continue, coming up on Get Up, a lot of people are selling on the Browns right now. Ryan Clark is going to give all you folks in Cleveland a reason to believe. That's on the way. Plus, this is the moment for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, Paul Feinbaum, on what could happen if the Wolverines lose this weekend in Happy Valley. It's on the way. It's Get Up on ESPN.